A waitress took a stand for a biker against some rude customers and faced the consequences. Just an hour later, 100 bikers showed up. You dismissed her for demonstrating compassion? A grave error has been committed. Lily, a compassionate waitress at a quaint cafe in a small town, stood up for a biker who was unjustly labeled a troublemaker by the patrons. Instead of receiving accolades, she found herself facing the unexpected blow of dismissal from her boss. Yet, her kindness shone brightly, capturing the attention of all around her. 30 minutes later, the biker returns with his crew, igniting a series of events that will transform Lily's life in ways she could never have foreseen. Greetings, everyone. It's wonderful to have you back at Unveiled Narratives. Today, I have a poignant tale to unfold for you. Lily had spent countless years at the cafe, drawn to its cozy embrace and the comfort of the known, opting for its charm over the allure of grander prospects. For her, this place held a significance that transcended mere employment. It was a second home, a space where she truly belonged. The familiar faces welcomed her with warm smiles, and she anticipated their requests before they even spoke a word. At one table, an elderly man wrestled with his cup, his hands trembling with the weight of years gone by. Lily paused, her hand softly guiding his grip as he lifted the coffee to his lips. "Allow me to assist you," she whispered gently. The elderly gentleman let out a soft chuckle, his eyes sparkling with appreciation. "Ah, you are ever so gracious, my dear, always keeping an eye on us seasoned souls." Lily beamed with joy. "Someone has to," she teased with a mischievous wink before gliding away. Such actions flowed effortlessly from her, simple gestures that endeared her to the familiar faces. It wasn't the compensation that anchored her in this place. The essence lay in the people, in the vibrant tapestry of community. Her colleagues frequently teased her, suggesting that her dedication to the customers surpassed that of the cafe's owner, a notion that held a kernel of truth. Outside, the storm unleashed its fury. Rain pounding against the windows in a ceaseless symphony. The rhythmic drumming wove through the silences of chatter, while Lily's eyes darted to the street, captivated by a shadow gliding through the relentless rain. A motorbike emerged from the rain, its headlights slicing through the misty air like a beacon in the gloom. The bike came to a gentle halt at the curb, its rider a mysterious silhouette against the tempestuous backdrop. The door creaked open, and for a fleeting instant, the lively chatter in the cafe fell silent. The biker entered, droplets of rain cascading from his leather jacket, gathering on the floor beneath him. His rugged appearance commanded attention. Tattoos winding down his arms, a thick beard framing a weathered face, and boots caked with mud. Silently, the biker advanced deeper into the space. Droplets of rainwater cascading from his jacket and gathering on the floor beneath him. His eyes roamed the room, yet he maintained a lowered head, as if attempting to diminish himself beneath the burden of the stairs. With each step, his boots whispered softly against the wooden floor, guiding him towards a corner table that awaited his presence. With a protective instinct, parents drew their children nearer, their cautious looks revealing an underlying tension. A man in a suit fidgeted in his chair, his gaze flickering nervously towards the biker before he hastily averted his eyes. A hushed tension settled over the room, the kind that resonated with unspoken words. Narratives. It was evident what was on everyone's mind. To them, he was an outsider, a disruption in the serene, familiar atmosphere of their beloved cafe. Lily observed the scene unfold from her vantage point behind the counter, a heavy feeling settling in her chest. The burden of evaluation. The tension in the room hung thick in the air, and she could clearly see the unease carved into the biker's expression as he stealthily retreated to the farthest corner. With shoulders drawn inward, he stood there, his damp jacket forming a small puddle on the floor beneath him. Following a momentary pause, with a moment of stillness, Lily inhaled deeply, resolved to dissolve the palpable tension in the air. With a swift motion, she snatched a towel from behind the counter and made her way to his table. With a gentle smile, she offered the towel to him, her eyes sparkling with kindness. "Greetings," she spoke softly. "Unrefined. Quite the weather we have outside, isn't it?" The biker lifted his gaze, a gentle warmth spreading across his face at the sound of her compassionate voice. "Indeed, I sought refuge from the tempest for a moment, perhaps to find some warmth." "Certainly. May I offer you something to eat or drink?" Lily inquired, her smile steadfast and bright. He paused, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his mind. "Only coffee," he remarked, then followed up with a touch of shyness. "Forgot my wallet and my other jacket." I was completely unaware until I arrived here. Lily noticed the flush of embarrassment in his eyes and how he skillfully evaded her gaze. She felt the pulse of his emotions, not merely the irritation of leaving his wallet behind, but also the heavy burden of the scrutinizing gazes from the surrounding patrons. "Fear not," she reassured with a gentle smile. "The coffee's on me. What do you say to a delightful sandwich? It seems you might be in need of a comforting embrace of warmth." The biker let out a slow, deliberate shake of his head. "Such kindness is overwhelming. I wouldn't want to be a burden." "It's no bother," Lily said, her smile warm and inviting. "Remain right where you are. I'll return shortly." Lily strolled back to the counter, lifted the lid of her tip jar, and retrieved a handful of dollar bills. She summoned a sandwich and brewed a steaming cup of coffee. With a steady hand, she cradled the coffee, its warmth radiating as she approached with the steaming cup. With a delicate touch, she remarked, "The sandwich will require a few moments to prepare. Hold on." As she awaited the preparation of her sandwich, a middle-aged man, comfortably settled with his family, leaned back in his chair. His voice resonated throughout the cafe, each word dripping with contempt. "It seems the biker gangs are cruising through the area once again. Isn't it troubling enough that they're destroying bars just a few towns away?" His remark elicited a handful of uneasy laughs and furtive looks from the surrounding tables. The atmosphere grew heavy, as if the very air was charged with anticipation, each person seemingly suspended in a moment of shared stillness. The biker, who had been quietly sipping his coffee, suddenly froze for a moment. His eyes darted to the man, then swiftly fell to the ground. With a subtle tension in his shoulders, he set the mug down with deliberate care. His gaze flickered towards the exit, a delicate yet revealing gesture that Lily noticed right away. She had been observing him intently, not from a place of doubt, but from a deep sense of care. He carried himself with a certain gravity, as if he were a man accustomed to the scrutiny of others, bearing the burden of countless misjudgments. He remained silent since his arrival, yet his demeanor suggested he was poised to depart. Lily moved forward without a moment's pause. She retreated to the family's table, her demeanor steady yet determined. "Pardon me," she said, her tone a blend of courtesy and resolve. "He has come seeking warmth and a nourishing meal." And that concludes the tale. What transpired in a distant town holds no relevance to his tale. The man raised an eyebrow, leaning in just a bit closer. "You're unaware of that," he remarked, his hand subtly indicating the biker. "Individuals of his kind don't merely drop in for a cup of coffee. Exercise caution in your enthusiasm to stand up for others." Lily stood firm, her voice unwavering as she responded. "I know he hasn't caused any trouble since he walked in. There he is, quietly tending to his own affairs. Is that not sufficient?" The man appeared startled, as though her resistance had caught him off guard. His wife gently rested her hand on his arm, whispering something softly, and he exhaled sharply, reclining in his chair with a dismissive shake of his head. As Lily turned away, she caught sight of the biker adjusting himself in his seat, his gaze now locked onto the exit door. He rose, the chair whispering against the floor as he took hold of his jacket. With swift determination, she approached him, blocking his path before he could make his escape. "Hey," she said, her voice a gentle whisper, yet unmistakably clear. "You needn't leave just yet. The rain is still coming down out there." The biker paused, his gaze dancing with a mix of appreciation and uncertainty. "I don't want to cause any more trouble," he said quietly, his voice rough yet gentle. Lily reassured him, "You're not causing any trouble. Individuals may express their opinions freely, but that does not necessarily validate their correctness." With a gentle smile, she sought to soothe his unease, then turned back to the counter. The staff cast hesitant looks at one another, their silence thickening the air as their whispers melted away into the shadows. Lily redirected her focus to her task, though her thoughts continued to dance around the conversation she had caught snippets of. Yet, just as her thoughts began to weave deeper into the fabric of the moment, the gentle chime of the doorbell rang out, heralding a new arrival, and eyes instinctively shifted towards the entrance. Mr. Carver, the owner of the cafe, entered with a flourish, shaking the rain from his umbrella as he crossed the threshold. A man in his late 50s, always impeccably attired in a tailored vest and polished shoes, radiated an undeniable aura of authority. His keen gaze swept across the cafe, not driven by a desire to soak in the ambience, but rather to assess the financial pulse. For him, Customer satisfaction was not merely a matter of kindness or connection, it revolved around maintaining. The enterprise flourishes with a consistent rhythm and abundant rewards. As he entered, his gaze swept across the room with a certain unrefined ease. The familiar buzz of conversation had faded away, leaving behind a palpable stillness that crackled in the air. Typically, his arrival brought forth cheerful smiles and friendly hellos from the familiar faces. Today, the familiar faces wore a veil of unease. Their usual cheer transformed into a palpable tension that hung in the air. Lily, poised behind the counter, caught sight of it as well. Her gaze wandered through the room, landing on a familiar figure, a man she had encountered earlier that very day. He wore his irritation like a cloak when she stood up for the biker after the man made a sharp remark about the biker's presence. At that moment, he found himself by the doorway, surrounded by his family, as he animatedly pointed towards the counter. His body language conveyed a palpable sense of frustration as he exchanged a few words with Carver. Even though Lily couldn't catch the precise words, the way he frequently cast glances her way, as well as towards the biker quietly seated in the corner, made it clear what his complaint was about. Lily's. Her heart plummeted as she observed him shake his head in disappointment, his movements becoming more pronounced before he turned and guided his family out of the cafe. Lily surveyed the room with a curious eye. The other customers averted their eyes, their uneasy shuffling and whispered conversations revealing their unease. A handful of glances were shared, laden with uncertainty as they grappled with their next move. The judgment that had lingered in the air since the biker's arrival now appeared to be aimed at her as well. It was clear to Carver. The once inviting, lively cafe had transformed into a realm of dissatisfaction. The customers were not merely uneasy. Their discontent was unmistakable. His gaze darted between the biker and Lily as he moved towards the counter, tension coiling in his jaw. "Lily," he uttered, his tone crisp and intentional. "It's time for a conversation." At this very moment, Lily turned to face him, her expression a calm mask, yet her posture betrayed a tension that lingered in the air. "Is there something amiss, Mr. Carver? Don't pretend you don't see it," he snapped, pointing towards the door where a man and his family had just departed. Once, he was a familiar face, a steadfast patron, and now he has vanished. Do you understand the reason behind it? As a result of this, he tilted his chin towards the biker in the corner. Those who carry such a presence seem out of place in this realm. Lily's gaze deepened, yet her voice held firm and unwavering. "My good sir, he has committed no wrongdoing. He partakes in his meal, just like all the others around him. I shall not cast aside anyone based solely on their appearance." Carver let out a derisive laugh. "It's not about his appearance, Lily. It's all about the business at hand. They create an uneasy atmosphere for my patrons, and when they depart, so does my revenue. What truly holds significance is the essence of the matter, rather than your minor ethical stance." Lily's hands clenched tightly at her sides. "So, you wish for me to cast him aside merely to safeguard your profits?" Carver squinted, his gaze sharpening with intensity. "I request that you fulfill your responsibilities. Welcome to my cafe, where my rules reign supreme. If you find it unappealing, you're welcome to seek out the threshold." Lily drew in a quick breath. "That doesn't seem quite accurate, Mr. Carver. This goes beyond mere currency." "It's all about the money," Carver interjected, his voice as sharp as ice. "Do you believe that kindness can cover the expenses? Do you believe that a warm smile can fill the table with food?" He leaned in slightly, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret meant only for the ears of those who truly listened. "The world isn't driven by mere good intentions, Lily. It thrives on energy, esteem, and gain. In this tale, one must possess the wit to navigate the currents of change, lest they find themselves adrift, forgotten by the tides of time." Lily felt a knot tighten in her stomach. She had always sensed the iron will that Carver wielded in the realm of business, yet to hear it articulated so starkly rendered her momentarily mute. With a weary sigh, Carver adjusted his sleeves, casting only a fleeting glance at Lily. "Your presence here feels like a diversion from what truly matters. Your services are no longer required. Complete your shift, collect your payment, and depart." Lily stood still, her lips parting ever so slightly. It was as if a debate was brewing within, yet the silence held sway, leaving no words to escape. She surveyed the cafe, taking in the disappointed expressions, the anxious staff, and finally, the biker, whose keen, intent gaze was fixed on the unfolding scene. Carver turned, having already moved on from the conversation. Yet, just as he was about to move, the biker leaned back in his chair and rose to his feet. His movements unfolded with a measured grace, each action purposeful and intentional. Pause for a moment. His resonant voice pierced the stillness. He advanced, the burden of his boots pressing against the tile, each step resonating with an added gravity. His gaze fixed on Carver, firm and resolute. "Are you really letting her go?" His tone was serene, yet it held an undercurrent, a poised intensity that hinted at something perilous lurking just beneath the surface. For what purpose? Exhibiting fundamental kindness? Carver crossed his arms, striving to maintain an air of indifference. "This matter does not concern you." The biker's lips formed a tight smile, yet it failed to illuminate his eyes. "Ah, indeed it shall be. Fear not, dear Lily," he reassured her, his gaze shifting to meet hers. "Your kindness will surely be remembered. Some debts find their resolution in ways that defy your wildest imagination." With a final piercing look at Carver, the biker turned and made his way towards the door. The sound of it closing behind him cast an uneasy hush over the cafe, a stillness punctuated only by the gentle clinking of cups and the soft murmur of conversations weaving through the air. Carver, beneath his calm facade, was unable to dispel the nagging sensation that he had just committed a grave error. Lily swallowed hard, a tumultuous blend of fear and hope swirling within her. Unbeknownst to her, the future lay shrouded in mystery, yet one truth stood clear: her acts of kindness had not slipped by unnoticed. She remained still for a moment, her eyes wandering to the door. The cafe, once a cherished sanctuary where she had invested her soul into every shift, now felt alien, almost stifling. She endeavored to concentrate, battling through the final hour. Yet the seconds stretched on endlessly. Half an hour slipped away in a whirlwind of activity as hands wiped down counters, orders were taken, and fleeting silent glances were exchanged with fellow workers. The burden of her dismissal hung in the air, casting a shadow over every task, making them feel more cumbersome than ever. As she readied herself to embark on her journey as she made her way to the back office to collect her paycheck, a low rumble broke the serene atmosphere of the cafe. Its sound swelling like a distant storm, hinting that something, or perhaps someone, was drawing near. Initially, Lily dismissed it as merely the familiar hum of traffic passing by on the main road. However, the sound soon grew in intensity, becoming louder and more consistent, almost rhythmic, like a pulse gently resonating through the walls of the cafe. She halted, her senses heightened, and gazed towards the front of the building, curious about what lay ahead. One by one, the roar of motorcycles filled the air as they rolled into the parking lot. The deep rumble of their engines crescendoed, a sound that swelled with anticipation. Figures draped in leather jackets and faded denim, their identities obscured by dark helmets and sunglasses, materialized from the swirling cacophony. The lot, once half empty, transformed into a burgeoning ocean of bikes, first dozens, then scores, and ultimately surpassing 100. All arranged with an almost military precision. With each bike's arrival, a surge of excitement coursed through the atmosphere, their engines roaring in harmony, the sound resonating through the earth beneath Lily's feet. From afar, the soft clink of chains and the gentle rustle of leather pierced the silence. Their gaze, sharp and unwavering, swept across the surroundings as they advanced with an undeniable authority. This was more than a mere pit stop, a transformation was on the horizon. Within those walls, the ambience transformed in the blink of an eye. Conversations came to a standstill, and customers paused mid-bite, their gazes captivated by the unfolding spectacle outside. A woman by the window clutched her coat, whispering to herself about the need to depart before the situation escalated. A young couple hurriedly settled their bill, casting anxious glances towards the door. Behind the counter, Lily's coworkers shared astonished looks, their eyes sparkling with intrigue. Josh, a barista, leaned in closer, his voice quivering with a blend of trepidation and accusation. "What have you done, Lily?" He spoke softly, his words almost lost amidst the far-off growl of engines. Lily remained silent. Her gaze was locked onto the lead biker, who had stepped off his ride and was striding purposefully towards the cafe door. With the door swinging open and a cheerful jingle, she instantly knew who he was. It was the very same biker she had stood up for earlier. The atmosphere shifted as he entered, the sound of his boots resonating against the tiled floor, drawing every gaze towards him. His presence drew the eye, yet his expression held no threat, only a serene resolve. Lily clutched the strap of her bag with determination as he drew near the counter. As he came to a halt before her, he lifted his helmet, unveiling a face that was both kind and serious. "I didn't get a chance to introduce myself earlier," he said, his deep voice resonating through the tranquil cafe. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Marcus, the guiding force behind this remarkable crew." Lily nodded, striving to find her voice's steadiness. "Once upon a time, there was a girl named Lily." Marcus offered a subtle smile. "I understand. Your impact on my life is immeasurable, Lily. You rose to my defense when others turned away. While others cast their eyes upon my appearance, you looked deeper and recognized the essence of who I truly am. Such a treasure, it holds a significance beyond what you can imagine." Lily shrugged, her cheeks blooming with color. "I simply acted as anyone would in that situation." "No," Marcus declared with conviction. "Many might not have taken that path, and we hold on to kindness like a cherished memory." He faced the rest of the cafe, his voice lifting just a touch. "We come in peace, seeking no discord. We gather to express our heartfelt appreciation." Much to the astonishment of all, the bikers started to pour into the cafe. Their formidable demeanor began to ease as they commenced placing their orders. Yet, rather than simply placing an order for themselves, they took it upon themselves to cover the costs for everyone present in the room. "Take whatever your heart desires," Marcus proclaimed, his voice resonating through the astonished crowd. "The responsibility lies with us." A change swept through the cafe, altering its very essence. Once filled with unease, the customers now gazed at the bikers, their expression shifting to curiosity and gratitude. Marcus turned back to Lily, his expression soft yet unwavering. "We had to take action after the events that unfolded earlier. You rose to my defense, and in doing so, you sacrificed your position. It pains me to know that I caused you distress, yet here we stand, ready to set things straight." Before Lily could respond, he offered a discreet nod to two bikers positioned near the door. As they advanced, one cradled a sealed envelope, while the other grasped a small set of keys. With a deliberate motion, Marcus gathered both items and set them down on the counter before her. "This is for you," he said, his voice unwavering. "Within that envelope lies the deed to a quaint cafe not far from here. It stands fully equipped, poised for adventure. My team and I came together to bring this vision to life. From this moment forward, a realm of your own awaits. A sanctuary where you hold the reins and no one can strip that power from you." Lily's breath caught in her throat as she gazed at the envelope and keys, her hands quivering with anticipation. Words escape me. This is overwhelming. This is something I cannot accept. Your presence here is truly invaluable." With a gentle smile, Marcus shook his head, a glimmer of amusement in his eyes. "It's not excessive, Lily. You rose to my defense in a way that was truly remarkable. You rose to the occasion for each and every one of us. Individuals like us often face judgment simply based on our appearance. Yet, you looked beyond that. Such occurrences do not escape attention." A woman with braided hair and a warm, knowing smile stepped forward, her presence inviting curiosity and wonder. Marcus wove a tale of events that unfolded, and in unison, we all nodded in agreement. "Individuals like you are worthy of far more than mere gratitude." And so we took action. We ensured that you would never have to encounter a character like that cafe owner again. The other bikers acknowledged him with a subtle nod, their faces a blend of warmth and steadfast resolve. Lily swallowed hard, her voice a mere whisper, trembling with the weight of her words. "Yet, I find myself in the presence of strangers, each with their own untold tales. What could possibly inspire you to take such an action on my behalf?" A robust rider released a hearty laugh. "You aided one of our own, Lily. That binds us as one. In this family, we look after each other." Lily blinked rapidly, struggling to contain the tears that threatened to spill from her eyes. "I remain uneasy about this situation. I acted without any anticipation of reward. I simply took the action that anyone in my position would have taken. That's precisely why you are worthy of it," Marcus declared with conviction. "And we shall not accept a no for an answer. This is not an act of charity, Lily. We extend our heartfelt thanks from each and every one of us." A soft murmur of agreement flowed through the group, and another biker chimed in, adding, "Besides, we're not merely handing you a cafe and riding off into the sunset. We will be here, ready to guide you on your journey." assisting you as you take your first steps. In this journey, you have companions by your side. Lily released a breath she hadn't known she was holding, a tearful smile blossoming as she held the envelope close to her heart. Your kindness leaves me at a loss for words, and I find myself searching for the right way to express my gratitude to each of you. This holds immense significance for me. With a twinkle in his eye, Marcus beamed. Your efforts have truly surpassed expectations. Now, it's your moment to invite others to lend their support. Simply make us one promise. As you navigate the journey of running that cafe, remain true to your essence. There are not enough individuals in the world who embody your spirit. Lily nodded, her heart brimming with appreciation. Her silence spoke volumes. In that moment, she realized she had discovered something far deeper than mere kindness today. She had discovered her tribe. The cafe thrummed with life as the bikers exchanged stories with customers and staff, their hearty laughter and authentic camaraderie enveloping the space. Plates of food and cups of coffee were generously distributed, courtesy of the bikers, who ensured that no one departed with an empty stomach. At the rear, poised rigidly by his office door, Carver observed the drama unfold before him. His arms were crossed, yet the usual authority in his posture seemed to wane. His gaze darted between the cheerful patrons and the rugged bikers, his jaw clenched as the truth dawned on him. The cafe he had once governed with an iron fist was now bursting with life like never before, and it was clear that he had no part in this vibrant transformation. For a fleeting instant, his eyes found their way to Lily. The applause, the appreciation, the admiration, elements he had never bestowed upon her were now flowing in from total strangers. He averted his gaze, adjusting his posture as if to grasp at a fleeting sense of authority, yet the world around him remained indifferent to his presence. One of the bikers called out, his voice echoing as he stood by the door. Allow this to serve as a gentle nudge, a whisper in the ear of your heart. Refrain from forming opinions about others based solely on their appearance. In the tapestry of life, it is often the most weathered souls who harbor the deepest kindness within their chests. The room fell silent for a brief moment as the words took root in the minds of those present. Suddenly, a wave of applause surged through the room, swelling in intensity until the whole cafe resonated with clapping hands. Lily gazed around, her heart swelling with gratitude and warmth that enveloped the room. For the first time that evening, a flicker of hope ignited within her, a gentle assurance that everything would turn out just fine. With a subtle nod, Marcus acknowledged her presence before he turned to depart. Until we meet again, Lily, rest assured, will ensure your new adventure flourishes. As the bikers mounted their motorcycles and rode off into the night, the cafe seemed to exhale, becoming lighter and brighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from its shoulders. Lily held the keys tightly in her hand, a smile emerging amidst her tears. In that moment, she understood that kindness often returned in the most unexpected ways. As the days turned into weeks, Lily's cafe blossomed into a cherished haven within the heart of the town. Inviting and cozy, the air was rich with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and delightful homemade pastries, embodying all her dreams come to life. Once, patrons of Carver's Cafe found themselves enchanted by the warmth and generosity that flowed from her every exchange, leading them to seek out her establishment instead. Her compassion for others, her authentic smile, elements that Carver had overlooked as trivial, transformed into the cornerstone of her triumph. Carver, from afar, observed as his once flourishing enterprise dwindled away. The unyielding regulations and frosty presence of him stood no chance against the inviting embrace of Lily's Cafe. As the days passed, one by one, his loyal patrons began to drift away, drawn instead to a haven where warm smiles awaited them, where their names were cherished, and where they truly felt a sense of belonging. On a sunlit afternoon, the unmistakable roar of motorcycles reverberated through the street. The biker crew, steadfast in their promise, turned Lily's Cafe into a beloved pit stop on their journeys. As they filled the space with a grin, Marcus leaned against the counter, surrounded by laughter and tales. I told you we'd ensure this place thrived, Lily chuckled, her eyes dancing as she surveyed her cafe. It transcended mere commerce. It was a testament that even the smallest acts of kindness hold great significance, always. Return to its origins. As she gazed out the window, her eyes fell upon Carver, who was watching her intently from across the street. She embraced the moment with a heart full of appreciation. leaving no room for resentment. Some lessons, she discovered, unfolded on their own, before your eyes. They are brimming with delightful tales that we are certain will capture your heart. Click now and hold on to the gentleness cascading.